Hello, everybody, and welcome back to this One Pricing Show. My name is Filip Vucic. I'm a pricing mentor.
And I'm Filip Zolota, the owner of Growth Marketing Agency Mauja.
Today, we are talking about white labeling, as in working for somebody, but in a way that they present it as their work or work of their employees, right? So it's not really part of the agreement is it's not important who exactly did this, right? So that's a fairly familiar term, maybe under some other name, especially for subcontractors, right? Okay, so take it away.
Yeah, thank you. So nowadays, especially in expertise-based business, you'll see that a lot of people are working potentially as a solopreneurs and being in the role of contractor, subcontractor, working practically in providing white label service for their respectable partners. No matter in the end who is delivering the solution, and in the end you are being subcontracted and providing the value and the product, service, or the results for your partner who is delivering and being responsible and accountable for service delivery to the end client. There is very often seen misconception. What is happening? People who are being subcontracted or working and providing white label service are trying to reach their financial desired state with their partner and dictate the premium price, while in the same time, they're not even trying to sell their service to their direct client within the same financial scope and the amount. Important thing to mention and emphasize is that you are practically, as a subcontracted entity, you are mitigating several important risks. That is financial and monetary acquisition and collection, service delivery, and quite often you don't need to manage the client. You are providing one set of the activities, one specific scope to your partner, who puts that in overall project scope and provide and push towards the end client, end customer. So that is the challenge I wanted to emphasize, because from my business practice through the agency and also working with a bunch of solopreneurs, business coaches, and consultants, I saw that people have a big misconception there. And even I heard one thing, yeah, but Filip, that is also my client. I am providing direct service, but yeah, it is not the same. You are not taking all the risks which are being taken by your respectable partner in that specific role. You're doing one chunk, one portion, so you need to adapt to the situation and act like a partner in that scenario. So that is the short outline of the challenge and misconception.
Right. So when you're white labeling, when you're subcontracted, you're way closer to the traditional role of the employee than you are to the traditional role of a certain kind of freelancer that we usually talk about. Because when you assume the role, let's say, of a full freelancer, you will go out and attract potential clients. You will make a deal with the client, set the price, right, and be also responsible for charging that. So successfully getting the money from the client. Everybody who tries this knows that this is not trivial. When you're subcontracting, you have a much more limited role in all of this. You need to do the job, yes, but you didn't have to find it, and you don't have to charge for it, and you should get paid whether the main partner gets paid or not. That's my professional opinion, but you should, because you're not taking that risk. However, as this is the case, you also have a more limited set of, like, let's say, rights or possibilities, because you're not taking that risk, right? And nobody should be responsible for taking the consequences of a risk that they cannot at all control. So if they didn't choose the client and they didn't are not going to be the one that ultimately needs to charge the client, they have nothing to do with how much that client is charged. Now, if I understood you correctly, when a freelancer like this feels like they are getting underpaid, they are going to try to get paid more by an agency that subcontracted them way before they're going to dare to do that with their direct clients, which have nothing to do with the agency.
Exactly.
Which makes less sense because there's more middlemen in the whole process. So I was wondering why that is, and the only reason that I can see right now is that there's a much bigger familiarity between an agency that they've worked with at the agency for, I don't know, months or years sometimes. So they feel like there's a more limited set of responses that they could get, whether from a client that they only, work a project once for a couple of weeks, that there's more unknowns. So people are more afraid of doing that, although it makes much more sense. And how it's definitely an interesting, let's say, phenomenon. Could you say, is there a difference here between what we in this show call the SWAN services, or the expertise-based service providers, and the duck services, or the commoditized service providers? Is there a different case in the when we're talking about subcontracting?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, the picture is very clear. Those who are in a segment of ducks, we would say, they're in the role and the phase of demanding. That is the matter of the approach. And those who are professional, they're in the SWAN group, meaning they also position themselves with respectable companies with whom they have direct cooperation as a partner, because that is the idea. Whatever you are building from the perspective of long-term business partnership and collaboration. The duck position and perception in this respectable scope would be, this is a one-time gain. I'll try. If it pass by, thumbs up. If not, I've even tried, but on the wrong address. So that is the primary difference in terms of the approach, a differentiator between duck approach and SWAN approach.
Okay. What you're saying is that many SWANs, many expertise-based services take a duck approach here.
Yeah.
Because they make remuneration, so getting paid, a matter of deserving, of dignity, right? And don't get me wrong, it's definitely a part of it, it's just not all of it, right? Okay, I mean that can be also based on past experience, because that's something to talk about some other time. But God knows that since working this way, so let's, especially for white label type work, that's very similar in some respects to being employed. There's a lot of employers, clients that act like they are employers, which they are not, because employers have a broader set of responsibilities for an employee than somebody taking on a contractor has, right? So again, it's a matter of balance of duties and responsibilities, right? Okay. So that can come from bad experience. But yeah, the long-term view, right? I think I heard something that was interesting that said why people don't like used car salesmen, because they basically know they're only going to interact with you once. And they have no reason to think that it's going to be otherwise.
Mhm.
They're going to treat you like that because it's a very short, let's say, game. While on the other side of the spectrum, you have, I'm going to, you treat your family, especially your close family, completely different because you know you're going to have to deal with them for a while and every day in many respects. So that's in the complete opposite corner. So what you're saying, the professional way of being a subcontractor is much closer to the long-term view.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. I mean, that's entirely fine if there's a visible reason, if there's some reason to believe that you're going to get more money out of the relationship that way, which is usually true.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
Which is usually true.
Yeah.
I really like the example that you don't I don't think you mentioned this often enough. When the initial waves of Corona crisis hit, right? This has maybe less to do with your subcontractors of your agency, but it has definitely to do with your employees. I don't know, but you kept all of the people, although your revenue slammed, right?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And why did you do that?
It's very simple. It's one team. It's an ecosystem. We are here for a reason today and tomorrow. So the point is to preserve the ecosystem, trustworthy relationship and relationship overall, which were built through years. So ditching people because something is happening, it's completely no go, because I know in that the same respectable time, a bunch of companies around me were simply laying off people from their businesses and ecosystem. For me, that was one primary and only, in that respectable moment, non-negotiable. That won't be happening. And that's it. That was completely all-in case and scenario, no matter what is happening. And in the end, that preserved the system, that preserved the relationships, everything. I know for a fact what was happening in COVID. Companies were laying off people, and after things were later on recuperating, they were trying and asking the same people to get back to the company. How many of those people said yes? For a reason.
Fool me once, right? So
Yeah.
did this extend to your white label partners?
Exactly. Exactly. The same thing. For me, it is the same. Some of the people would say, "Oh, we are family, family." No, you don't need to see it overly romantic in that terms.
Yeah, I agree.
You have responsibility. There are clear accountability, and you have the team. So no matter people were the company's employees or contractors, the relationship and everything was and is the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I understand that.
Yeah.
So you're saying basically we named this episode white labeling done right. So white labeling done right for the Swan type services is basically taking the long view on the long time partners and taking the short view on the direct clients, because a direct client can be a bigger opportunity as a singular because there's no middleman, and you get to take all of the risk and you get to take all of the reward because of it. So if you are in a short-term need, or you want to make a short-term change, you want to make more on this particular type of business or whatever, you go and talk to the direct client, because firstly, they're bound to be bigger than the agency that you're talking about. So and there's no middleman. There's a lot more space to talk about, right?
Yeah.
So that's the proper place to go and play shorter games. And with somebody who is getting you work, and taking the risk and vetting the clients and this and that and the other, take a long-term view with them. And that's both is going to lead to a better, to a more profitable approach, right? Better can mean a lot of things. But I think so that's what you mean by done right. Yeah.
Yeah, and the example which I mentioned before we started today's session, one colleague who started working for us as a contractor in sales department. Okay, he's working for us, but still on the go, when I saw the results, the devotion and everything, immediately I was activating additional positions where he can get direct engagements within our network of people who require his level of expertise. And for me, it was a no-brainer. Why? Sharing is caring. If I see something works and it is amazingly working for us with amazing results, the only thing I want to do is to help both my existing partner who need specific expertise service, and also colleague who is working with us, for us, and delivering an amazing results. And that is setting up the proper frame and putting the world in balance. Ideal state and scenario.
So I have a similar experience while I was employed. I was asked to do some additional work that had nothing to do with the company or the industry, but it had to do with my specific knowledge. And as per my agreement, I said that to the boss I had at the time, and he said, "Yeah, absolutely. I mean, don't be late with anything that I need you for, obviously. But if you can, that will just make you more happy, because you are going to get paid more, but not by me. So you're just going to be happier here." Without me having to pay you more. So that's awesome. So you, if I understood you correctly, for the sales contractor, you found additional work for him that had nothing to do with you.
Exactly.
Yeah, because simply you saw a good opportunity, you connected them, and you were not the middlement there. You just connected them.
Yeah, that was simply because direct referral. Exactly.
It didn't. He got paid more, and you didn't pay him, right? And he got that from the relationship. So he would ascribe the money that he got to the relationship that he has with you, although you didn't have to pay him.
Yeah. That single connection with me created multiple points of income for him.
Yeah. I completely understand. Cool. Is there anything else that you wanted to emphasize here?
No, I think we emphasized all of the relevant things. The point only, maybe what we can address and practically repeat, when we already said that, is the fact that the point is, when you're doing white label service, put yourself in your partner's shoes and act like a partner, not demanding, thinking, communicating, being transparent. Because one thing is a fact: you'll receive appreciation and reciprocity on the long term, for sure, especially if you're aligned with the people with whom you're working. Surely there will always those who do not appreciate the relationship, but the point is you won't be engaged with them. It's a one-time deal. Thank you, bye-bye, farewell. But with the people with whom you have a trustworthy relationship and a true partnership, it's long-term.
Yes, and I would like to emphasize this is more true, I think, with Swan pricing, with expertise based, simply because with duck cases, you're ultimately utterly replaceable.
Yeah.
This is not the case. So of course there's good waders and bad waders, and good car washers and bad car washers, but there's a smaller difference between a really good wader and an average wader, and a really good sales guy and an average sales guy. I don't know if the person you talked about was a guy or a gal, but doesn't really matter. What I wanted to emphasize is that in Swan cases, these differences are usually greater, which makes them or us less replaceable, so that counting on longer term relationships is easier.
Yeah.
So it makes more sense to make this distinction between the long-term view and the short-term view. Okay, cool. Philip, where can people find you?
People can find me on the LinkedIn and also visiting our agency website, maoyo.agency, and my consulting practice, maoyo.consulting.
Cool. People can find me on LinkedIn as well, and fearlesspricing.com, fearless-pricing.com. Cool. Well, that would be it for today. Join us next time, and bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.